I'd sent her down there in the May, having gone through all the processes that need to go through to join the military as a very strong, independent young woman. And I'm now faced with this horrendous outcome that she'd taken her own life. Everything that we were thinking potentially could have gone wrong had gone wrong, and really the narrative from the military was complete. Well, it was their narrative. Essentially, they were telling us the day after we found out she died that she had that they'd found her in her room on the Sandhurst estate, and then very slowly they tried to say it was after an event where she got drunk, where she'd been rescued by a member of staff, and that things had just unravelled. And we were really left with, at that point, she was having a mental health crisis, which again we knew absolutely nothing about. So she died on the Wednesday, we're at Sandhurst on the Thursday, and literally on the way home in the car, thoughts start kind of ruminating in your head that this just isn't right.
And we just came away from that meeting thinking the narrative that the MOD were trying to put across did not fit with our understanding of who Olivia was. And the more we thought about that and the more we probed into that, I was convinced something happened on the night of that ball that we weren't being told.
She'd become incredibly drunk. She'd been taken into the room by a senior member of staff, and then was found wandering the grounds of Sandhurst the following morning, and then was put under. She was basically interrogated to see where she'd been, what had happened, while she was still drunk, while she was still in this very vulnerable position.
Based on the information we started to piece together, we'd like to sort of put together a bit of a chronology of all the events that leading up to, and we started to paint a picture there. We also had a meeting down at Reading with the coroner and the police, which basically just kept closing us down, we're not going to pursue this, we're not going to do any investigation. And we really felt that we needed some legal support. And as I say, Vicky identified BBK, so I gave a call, got through to Ahmed and explained the situation to him, and I think I emailed him across our provisional chronology, and he basically said they would take on the case and see where it goes. So that's how we ended up with BBK.
And I have to say, they took a real punt on us, because there was nothing to... we got this information, but we were taking on, effectively, this huge organisation. And from previous inquests and fatalities that had occurred in the army where parents had fought against the military, to come to actually nothing. We'll be forever grateful, really, that Ahmed, first of all, took the call, listened to us, arranged a meeting, and it snowballed from there. And I think it was because of that, we then, in the October of 2019, the military actually contacted us and said there'd be a service inquiry, which I think originally they wanted to bury, they didn't want that. But I really think it was because we had the backing of BBK, along with our investigations, the service inquiry investigations, and working alongside Ahmed, Victoria and the barristers, that we were able to get the verdict that we actually got. And it was effectively that the MOD, in the end, 4 years later, held their hands up and said, we let her down. But it was the tenacity, really, of Victoria and Ahmed and our barristers that really kept pushing it forward. Because we would have been, as a mother, I would have been you know, powerless to do any of this. I would have been one single voice.
You know, I've said at the time that I wanted to get to the truth and I wanted justice for Olivia, so, and that's, I think, what we did.